Welcome to the Mindset Experiment, where we don't just talk about growth, we test it in real life. I'm Victoria.
And I'm Jacob. Every week, we're challenging our habits, our thinking, and the stories we've been telling ourselves, and documenting what actually changes.
This isn't about being perfect, it's about being honest.
Let's get into this week's experiment. Hello, and welcome to another fun episode filled with learning
And growing,
and growing
and growing,
and learning
and learning.
and doggies today.
And doggies.
Today, our dogs are making a guest appearance.
Hello,
We have
dogs. And
Pantera
Peony
and
girls.
Jack.
That's not Jack.
It's Chansey boy.
Chansey. Chansey's my buddy. Chance has been around the longest.
Chance is the OG of the house.
Chance is the OG of his house.
Chance has been around longer than baby.
This is true. A fun fact about Chance is that Chance was originally Jacob's dog. Jacob and I were not always Jacob and Victoria. Yeah. We at one point were just Jacob and just Victoria, but we like coexisted, meaning he was my boss. He hired me my first job when I moved to Austin. And later on, I wanted a dog when I first moved to Austin because I'd always wanted a dog. And later on, Jacob had gotten a dog, an additional dog. He had already had a dog.
I got Chance because Brian needed a pet.
Brian, his other dog, needed a friend. But then his friend ended up being too much.
Chance likes to pee on
He
shit.
needed, not at that time. Wasn't he just like chewing up your stuff?
Yeah, he was a
Anyway,
puppy.
he was a puppy, yeah. A lot.
12, 14-hour days.
Yeah. So he needed more. So anyway, I took in Chance.
Because she didn't work that much.
I did
She
not
was
work
lazy.
as much. Not
I'm
true.
so-
I, at one point, worked 2 jobs.
Yeah,
But
know.
I had other people at my house that would play with my dog. So I took in Chance. I was given Chance. And then, like a year after, it was like a year after I got Chance, me and Jacob actually ended up together.
And I got Chance back.
And Chance came back into Jacob's life. So, fun facts about Chance.
We're meant to be buddies forever.
Yeah, he's your buddies. It's your buddy. But he's my buddy first.
Yeah, I just recently started liking Chance a little more.
Chance has always been my best friend. Yeah, woman's best friend. Yeah. Okay.
He's been a consistent part of our lives for a long time.
Definitely. What a good token of consistency. Very true. Very true. Yeah, my Chansey boy. Okay. So, welcome to this episode of consistency. Did you already say that? Sorry.
No,
we were talking about consistency?
Maybe, I don't know.
Anyway, this week's episode is about
Chance.
The other C word.
Consistency.
Consistency. So, I guess I have lots of pages of notes on lots of different things.
Well, what's the definition of consistency? What did you have?
Mine. Okay.
Hey, bud.
So my definition said it's the repeated execution of a behavior over time, regardless of emotional state.
I got the steady, regular repetition of actions, creating reliability and enabling behavior change, habit formation, and long-term success.
Nice. That's crazy that we have gotten different definitions each time.
Depends on what source you use.
I think I used a couple of different sources.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, what you said was a roundabout way of what I said.
This is true. Just more or less words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
More oomph for certain things.
Yeah. So one thing that I like, the more that I started to think about consistency and the more that I started to like learn about it, like through other podcasts or through asking ChatGPT questions or whatever, it seemed to very much so tie to the discipline that we talked about last week. which
Because
is
doing
crazy because it's almost like they're one and the same. It's like almost hard to talk about it separately.
without the other, yep.
But yeah, one without the other. Because like even as I started to like write things down, it was like, oh, well, it leads to self love, and like, oh, well, so did the discipline, and it's like, oh, well, it also like teaches you to like trust yourself. You know what I mean? Which like, oh, also the discipline does that. Like, the more disciplined you are, the more like you can trust yourself, and the more that like that leads to self love, and you know what I mean? Like, it's
And one kind of like enhances the other, right? The more consistent you are, then that's being disciplined is a byproduct of that, right? Like you are consistently disciplined in doing something, like they're one and the same.
right, right, right.
You
Yeah,
constantly do this one thing. Well, that's the same as, well, I'm disciplined. I'm disciplining
yeah.
myself to do this constantly.
Right, something that happens without emotion, like, you have
Like
to disassociate it with, like, the motivation piece.
going back to last week's episode of like the small things to be
Yes.
disciplined, well, you got to do those consistently. And
Right,
by doing those consistently, well, you're being disciplined.
right,
Like
and
you're
gaining.
disciplined yourself to make the bed in the morning. Like that's a being disciplined, but doing it consistently is being disciplined.
Yeah.
Science.
Yeah. So, like, I wrote down, like, consistency is the foundation to discipline, but it's almost like it's a concoction,
Well, you can't have one
like you
without the
said.
other.
Right, like you said. In order to get a foundation right, usually foundation is something that's, like, strong and sturdy. You don't want a foundation that's on friggin' sand, right?
Nope.
You want something that's more concrete. So, like, the consistency and the discipline are like what the concrete mix is. Like you said, you can have one without the other, so they make that foundation to like build off of like, all of the other ideas that we've like started to have about like different podcast episodes or like different things that we should experiment with each week. Like a lot of it builds off of like the consistency and the discipline. Not only that, but like how we feel mentally, you know what I mean? Like the being consistent and being disciplined like help me perceive myself differently. So
What are things you've been doing consistently? The same as last week, right? Making your bed,
yeah,
being consistent on your devotions.
yeah,
And I mean,
and
you've been
yeah.
doing a great job with that. Like,
Thank you.
keep it up.
Keep it up. Yeah.
No, I mean,
The,
that's what you are being disciplined in those things that you set forward. Like,
yeah,
you're
and it's not a hundred
actually,
percent though. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and
but you're not, we're humans. Everything's not going to be 100%, but you still try every day. You're
right.
still,
That was something that like I wrote down. I think over here was like
you're
that
consistently
we're all
getting better.
humans, right? We're all humans, so like it's not gonna be. I'm
And
not gonna hit it every single day, every single thing, every single day. Like it's just that's just unrealistic, to have that goal
and
because like
and it's a journey at the end of the day. Like, we're not doing this because in in 2 months or 3 months we're gonna be 100% different, or in a
oh,
different space, right? It's a journey. It's a long. This is for the long haul.
definitely.
So don't beat yourself up. Like, for the most part, your little book probably still has a bunch of X's across the board. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, for sure. Uh-huh.
and same thing for me, right? I was doing really good, and I messed up a few days ago, and now we're back at it, and
Right, right.
it's part of being getting, like, we know that we got to change it and get better.
Right. It's like the awareness piece of like, okay,
Being consistent is hard, right? Not everybody can be consistent. Like, right, you hear stories of these famous athletes like Michael Jordan, right? He never made the high school basketball team, or he was cut from his high school basketball team, and then he went home and he was consistently working on his jump shot and his practice, his moves, to where he eventually got better, right? The same thing with Tom Brady, right? He wasn't the number one pick, dude, little scrawny dude. When you look at him in comparison to these other football athletes, not the same token stereotype quarterback looking dude, but that dude went and outplayed everybody and out practiced everybody, and he did it consistently. And
right. The consistency beat.
hard work
Yeah, the
beats
hard work.
everything.
Yeah,
Hard work and consistency beats everything. He wasn't the talentedest,
most talented.
most talented. There you go. But he was consistent and he went every day and he practiced on the things that other people. Dude has 7 Super Bowls. Like I will never witness that again in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, for
And
sure. For
that's
sure, for
from
sure, for
your
sure.
mind. That's what your mind can do if you really set to your goals and you're consistent and you're disciplined at those goals that you set forth and are disciplined in your path to those goals, you'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like the bucket of water, right? Like that we
Oh
had talked about the other day of
yeah.
like
At
it's
the splash
filling, it's
pads.
filling, it's filling, it's filling, it's filling, and then like nothing's happening. Yeah, and then all of a sudden it all comes down. It's like the big, you know,
Splash.
big splash and like the big wave, right?
Climax.
Or, a lot of people I've heard a couple people talk about the bamboo. Rob Dial specifically was talking about the bamboo, but there was somebody else that had mentioned it. Um,
Of how it takes so long to grow.
yeah, it takes like it's like 8 years or something like that for it to like start even to sprout. But then within like 90 days, it's like boom up
Uh,
like that. So like just the consistency of going out there and watering it and taking care of the seed right consistently and for 8 years. I could be wrong on that. I might have to fact check myself. I didn't, but um,
we're throwing
doing it anyway. Fact check me in the comments, I guess.
100% of these facts 99% of the time are true.
We do our best.
We
It is
do.
an experiment.
It is an experiment, and we are not perfect by any means.
So the consistency piece is definitely showing up like when the motivation isn't there, when the emotion is just like, I don't want to do it, right? So we're
But
showing it up and
also,
doing it anyway. And I feel like that's where the consistency meets the discipline is like showing up and doing it anyway. Like that's where they first
and at some
touch.
point, if you are consistent, then it takes away that like I know, hey, I come home from work, I make dinner, or we go on a walk, I make dinner, I start preparing for the next day. I do that on a consistent basis, then my brain automatically knows, okay, this is what we're doing every day. So it takes
Yes.
that decision fatigue a little less, right? Like I
Right.
don't have to make a decision. I already know today's get these chores done and we're done.
Right. X, Y, and Z needs to be done. A, B, and C needs to be
And
done.
just got to be consistent and get it done.
Yep.
But being consistent helps. It eventually gets, is what I'm saying, is it gets easier. And if you are consistent in your routine,
Yeah, the routine I feel like
then it is just a
is
byproduct at that point. It's like, oh yeah, you go into autopilot. I wake up in the morning and I go work out. That's what I do. That's what I do.
mhm.
Get up, work out, go take a shower. Boom. That's your morning routine. You consistently do it. You're disciplined in those actions that you do daily.
So how are you being consistent?
How am I being consistent?
Yeah.
Same as last week, making my bed in the morning, writing in my little notes every morning when I was doing that, right? Um, Journaling, documenting all that, eating right. Every day I'm trying to eat right and maintain those goals. Go on my walks, try to do that consistently.
Yeah. That's a lot of things
That's what
to
I've
be doing.
implemented.
Yeah, that's to be
Excuse me.
currently doing. Yeah.
Currently,
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like mine's the same thing as it from last week too, just because it's like being consistent and starting out with the consistency piece is making the small tasks and like doing the small things very consistently,
but it also,
making it easy
yeah,
to get it
but
done.
you go on and it's benefiting yourself. You go on a walk, you got more energy throughout the day to do more things, get
Yeah.
more things done. I've, like I said, when you come home and you've had a long day at work, and you do your nightly routine, and then you go to bed, and at least my bed's made, and I can
Yeah,
lay
that's
my
true.
head down, and I don't gotta like fight with the blanket, or sometimes when I gotta look for my blanket. My blanket ends up everywhere. Seem to throw I have
This is true.
night Tourette's, or I don't know what you'd call that.
You do move around a lot.
But yeah, so those are the things I've worked on to be consistent. It's gotten My life has gotten easier since I've been doing a lot of things consistently. I know my routine.
Yeah, because the routine
I've become
removes.
more dependable, I guess. Like okay, like you were saying the other day, well, don't have to worry about dinner being made because you're making dinner at night and
Yeah, picking up after yourself and
making sure, yeah, stuff
making sure
is.
the baby gets showered and fed and into bed by the right time. Or yeah, you guys are like going on a walk and stuff consistently. Definitely like puts my mind at ease because like he's he's seeing that too, like not just with us but with you and like with me, to like this is what we do. This is our routine. Oh, my parents are showing me this because, and so like later on in life it'll be, oh, this is just what we do,
Oh,
kind of thing.
do it with your family, your kids.
Yeah. So I there funny enough, I this last week has been like kind of harder, right? Like with just the things that we've been trying to like be consistent about and be disciplined with. So like there were some brain facts that I wrote down. Want to hear them?
Ooh, yeah, brain facts.
Okay.
I like brain facts. Did you know
So
we only use 10% of our brain?
yeah, it's crazy. So the brain is not optimized for growth. It wants efficiency, safety, and energy conservation. I think that's crazy that our brains are not designed to like grow. You know what I mean? In the sense of like, oh, I want to like be better, so I need to do X, Y, and Z. Like in the animal kingdom, right? I guess we're in the animal kingdom, but like in animals, like in the wild, I guess they like they like they grow and they learn to do certain things to survive. You know what I mean? Even if it's uncomfortable, right? So why are we not like that? Why are our brains not like that? You know what I mean? Like I find that so interesting because like at children, like as babies, right? They are like obviously they're optimized to grow because they're learning. You know what I mean? Like in that mindset book, right? She was talking a lot about like how children with a like oftentimes have growth mindset like automatically before they're influenced by anything on the outside world. Somewhere along the line, we just decided we were going to stop optimizing for growth. Like our brain just decided, oh, okay, we're just gonna be comfortable now. Now we've hit the point where we're just gonna be work around efficiency rather than trying to stretch
Mm,
ourselves and trying to take on more challenges and enjoying that process. You know what I mean? I
mm,
felt like that's so weird to me. Um, your brain is consistently asking, how do I use the least amount of energy possible? And this leads to new things feeling exhausting.
mm,
So, like when you have to put effort into things that you're trying to do new, then your brain is like, "Oh, we have to actually like think about this and like waste calories essentially and waste power, energy to like do these." So it's like, "Oh, not fun. That's not.
mm,
I don't like that." Your basal ganglia, which is involved with your habit formation. No, it automates repeated behaviors to conserve mental energy. So interrupting that loop is hard because it takes more brain energy. So once again, just like taking away the brain energy to make decisions, or like having to, become more aware of how you talk to yourself takes more energy. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like I have to actively think about, oh, I just said some nasty things to myself, and then actively think about something nice to say.
mm. Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
that's you have to interrupt the loop. So like your brain is not your basal ganglia. You have to make it a habit so that like your basal ganglia can keep it as a habit. Okay, second one. Your prefrontal cortex is responsible for your decision making, your impulse control, planning, and discipline. The more decisions you have to make throughout the day, the more fatigued your cortex becomes. So that's like what you were talking about, like having more of the routine and like getting a good routine down is like easier for your brain. But if you have a bad routine, like your brain is going to want to stay in the bad routine. You have to like interrupt that loop, right? With waste more, or not waste, it's definitely not a waste. Use more energy to interrupt the loop so that your routine can become better, so that your prefrontal cortex doesn't have to make so much decision later on in the day or throughout the day or whatever.
Interesting.
Hmm. Okay, last one. Your dopamine system. So it's not just your pleasure chemical, it's also tied to anticipation, pursuit, and reward prediction. Also, motivation. So the brain, it likes immediate rewards. We were talking about that. I think we were talking about that last week. The like instant gratification. Um, so it doesn't prioritize something where the gratification is delayed. So, I lost my train of thought where I was going with that actually. My brain didn't like it. It said, "Bitch, you're using too much energy."
She said bad word, y'all. That's $5 in the cuss bucket, mom.
So, I guess it's like thinking about it now, just like off the top of my head,
What?
people like will reset their dopamine. Like, have you seen those things on Instagram or whatever where it's like, "Oh, reset your dopamine with me,"
Mm-hmm.
and it's like people that like sit in a room and like don't do anything like for an hour. They like don't talk. They're not listening to music, and they're just like they're not reading a book. They're not.
I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah.
Nah.
So it's like resetting your dopamine system, like because we are so like oh scroll and like oh I want that instant gratification. I want that
So
dopamine hit.
they're just doing nothing.
They're just doing nothing and forcing themselves to just do nothing,
Be
just to sit and be and
meditate.
not necessarily love you too, buddy. Not necessarily like I guess meditate. I don't know if you can get to that point.
Well, that's
I guess that would be the goal.
meditating. Yeah, sitting there quietly in peace and
Sitting and doing nothing.
being one with your thoughts.
Mhm.
Just
Mhm.
being there in the present
Mhm. So yeah, our brains
are amazing.
they're amazing things, yeah, and they are not optimized for what we're doing, what we're trying to achieve here, which is it makes things a lot harder. You know what I mean? So like I guess having to remind myself that literally my chemical makeup is not designed to necessarily do these
To be
thing,s
helping you,
yeah, to
you're
be helping
fighting.
me in
You're
this kind of way
yeah.
in my mindset is like, okay, that's kind of like that's super sucky. But also like it's okay that I mess up because it's not necessarily like my fault. I can do something to change it and I can
Nah,
take action and I'm not going to use that as an excuse because then at that point like I'm making the decision to say, "Oh, my chemical makeup doesn't allow me to do those things." When it's like that's a lie. You know what I mean? Like you can force yourself and teach yourself because I mean at the end of the day that's what it is. It's teaching yourself and growing and
and learning
learning and
and growing.
growing um to be better to do those things. So,
Good job.
that's my 2 cents. Good job.
Be
Okay.
consistent.
So how to get consistent? Honestly,
Just do what you can
it's
do. What
exactly
you say you're gonna do, and do it
it's pretty much exactly what we
over and
talked about
over.
last week. It's making it super small, making the action super small that you can take every single day, consistently, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. You know what I mean? So that
But then
you
eventually building onto it,
Of
right?
course.
Like
Of course, building onto it. Also focusing on the identity instead of the outcome, right? Like, oh, who would ask yourself like what would the disciplined version of me do today? I'm someone that keeps promises to myself. So like, okay, but thinking about your future self, it's something that we talked about last week too. And then earlier you said removing the friction or like coming up with a routine so that your brain doesn't have to do it on the spot because 9 times out of 10 like your brain is going to do
easy.
the easy thing,
That's
the
not
easy
benefited
out.
for
That's
you.
not the benefit, right? It's so much easier to go grab a pizza home from work if you have to make, the super elaborate meal and you have no veggies cut and nothing done already for yourself. So, you know what I mean? That was something that I read about was like I read about it because I was like doing a recipe, right? And chat was like, "Oh, pre-cut your veggies for the whole week right off the bat so that dinners are easier to make." It's like, "Oh, yes. Like, why would I not do that?
Because then it doesn't hold its like
You're
you.
gonna cook the vegetables anyway."
Yeah, but I just feel like it gets like chopped stuff is only good for 2 days rather than I'm gonna chop it on Monday and then I'm gonna use it on Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
Um,
chop it up and then you can
I
use
guess
it
it
for the
would be
next
more so for like the days that
couple of days. And then just stop being lazy. Just fucking
stop being lazy.
cook. And if that's what you want
But
to
have
do
the
and eat
routine then.
healthy
Have
and
the
be
have all the ingredients ready in the fridge. You know what I mean? Like
just don't be lazy. Just don't do be lazy. That's all it really boils down to is stop fucking being lazy. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. There's another $5 into the cussing bucket.
yeah, you've been when I said that earlier.
I was like, it's on. I can cuss now. Mama let me.
So removing the friction though and coming up with the routine. Meal prepping, right? So like when we make dinners, make the dinner big enough so that you can have lunch the next day too.
Oh yeah, that's
So
what
that
we've been doing.
but yeah, I know, but
Oh,
right now we're talking about like how to get consistent and what to do. So and then don't miss twice. So like if you miss one day, like do your best to not miss that thing the next day. Because our chemical makeups are not to be making these decisions and be doing the better thing for ourselves. So it's okay to mess up, but not 2 days in a row. Like don't miss a second day. If you didn't move for 10 minutes today, then make sure that that's the first thing you do, you know, in your day tomorrow. And then that's all my notes. Blank page next.
so thank you for staying tuned to consistency. I hope that was beneficial for you.
Yeah, it's beneficial for
Um,
me.
no,
I
yeah.
had a beneficial week in learning and all of these things. So
Yes.
next week we'll be talking about self love.